friends, welcome back. So this is Jay. I hope you're doing very well. For today, we are going to do a reaction video to a video that is actually available on YouTube. So as you may have noticed, I reacted to the Exorcist movie recently, and links to which you can find in the description box below and also in the pinned comment. Also, you can find the links to the full-length reaction along with the full movie and the full commentary over at Patreon. So the links are down below. So while I was watching that, and the comments and in the personal messages that I have received from both the patrons over at Patreon and also from the YouTube viewers, some of you have suggested me to watch this video. But I have been told that it is pretty much the impact the Exorcist movie had on the crowd at the time in the US. So I'm very much keen to see what kind of an impact it had, and you can see from the way I watched it and how I perceived it. So I want to see how it is different from how I took it and how the people felt at the time. If you like the video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed to the channel, I hope you consider doing so. And also you can head to my channel and see other movie reactions that I've done so far. And as always, you can find all my full-length reactions along with the full movie and the full commentary over at Patreon. So without further ado, let's join to see this video.
On December 26, 1973, in 24 selected engagements in the United States, William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin, opened. From the novel that had long been on the bestseller lists and directed by the man who had brought the French Connection to the screen, The Exorcist had long been awaited, widely speculated upon, and anxiously anticipated. But no one, no matter how close or deeply involved in the film, could possibly have anticipated what was to happen at every theater where this film played.
I wonder what the French Connection was. I don't think I have heard about it, or I have never watched it, of course.
This is the second time we've seen it. It's terrific.
As many as I can possibly go. I love it.
Try it, you'll like it.
Well, we drove 100 miles, so I hope so.
Fantastic movie.
It's really gross.
It was really terrific.
I want to see if it's going to make me throw up.
The Exorcist scored the biggest opening day gross for a single theater in the history of Los Angeles motion picture houses, and broke established records in every other theater where it opened across the country. In record-breaking, coast-to-coast first-week grosses, The Exorcist brought in almost $2 million at 24 theaters.
That's quite huge.
In 6 days, The Exorcist surpassed all previous box office records at 3 theaters in New York. At Los Angeles, 2 more theaters were open. In Chicago, the pattern was the same, and the dimensions of The Exorcist experience broke on the motion picture world with an impact rivaled only by the audiences that continue to pour into all these theaters.
So people liked it.
It was, of course, first evident to the theater managers that The Exorcist was no longer just the most successful motion picture in film history, but had become an unquestioned sociological phenomenon, breaking out of the theater pages and television reviewers' hands to the city desk, the front page, and hard news on telecast from coast to coast.
I'm Harry Francis, manager of the National Theater here in Westwood. I've been in this business 40 years now, and I have never gone through anything like this. It's exciting. The public love it. Had crowds that you can't believe. We've hired 20 security guards to control the crowds. We're getting young people, old people, you name it, we get anyone. Last week in the rain, they stood as it was the sun today. Mr. Friedkin and Mr. Blatty felt sorry for the people. They hired caterers. They give out 3,000 cups of coffee each night, a total of 6,000. The public thought it was great.
My name is Randy Robbins, the assistant manager at the National Theater. We've had uncontrollable crowds, and to try and alleviate some of the problems of people not getting tickets that have been waiting long periods of time in line, we started a system of giving out coupons. Nobody gets a ticket without a coupon, and the way they get them is just by taking a place in line, waiting from 3 to 5.5 hours, and then purchasing their ticket with it. Only one coupon is given per person, and they can't buy a ticket without it, regardless. So what we do, right now it's 4 o'clock, we're giving out coupons for the 8 o'clock show, which will guarantee them a seat, so they won't have to worry about whether they'll be getting in or whether they won't be getting in.
My name is Donna Yearwood. I'm a cashier here at the National Theater in Westwood. We are showing The Exorcist right now, and it's absolutely fantastic. We have people coming. This morning they were standing in line at 4:30 in the morning for the 10:30 show.
What?
And we've just had sellouts every day, about 2 hours before the performance even begins. The people we've already got enough people in line to sell out the theater, and they remain in line, and people who know they won't get into that show will go to the end of the line and wait for the next show. Sometimes we'll have our 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and the midnight show sold out before 6 by the people that are standing in line. And they'll stand in line in the rain, they'll stand in line under all kinds of conditions, and they all seem to just really enjoy it when they come in. We've never had anyone complain about the wait being too long for the kind of movie it was. Everyone just really felt it was great. And sometimes even they stand in line for 5 and 7 hours. We've heard some of the people say they've been standing in line that long. And they'll come in and they won't be able to watch the whole movie because it's just too much for them. And they'll come out after about an hour, but they don't complain about standing in line.
I don't like it. I want to go home.
Makes my heart beat too fast.
I don't know, it doesn't bother me that much. But I guess it bothered her more than it bothered me.
This is the second time we've seen it. We still can't hack it.
No.
Why was that? I'm not going back in there.
All the people are pretty good about it. We've had to have a lot, as long as we have a lot of help, then we can help the people as fast as we can. And they don't mind too much. They stand forever.
My name is Jamie Finn. My name is Karen Howard. My name is Robin Ellison. We work here answering telephones and fixing popcorn and drinks when it gets really crowded. Yeah, when they first let everybody in, everybody runs and they're like a stampede and they scream like there's riot going on.
It sounds so innocent, actually. The whole operator girl says almost everyone.
Just the other night, this guy came out and I looked out the door and he was lying on the floor. He's really big. You wouldn't have expected. I know. All these big guys, they come out and they look like they're ghosts or something. And they ask for smelling salts and everything. It's not the kind of people you'd expect to faint. Yeah.
It didn't scare me. I don't know what happened. I just fainted. It was frightening.
My experience with this movie has been incredible, especially with people fainting. Halfway through the movie, the movie starts getting quite violent, and people get quite unusual reactions, and we have a lot of people throwing up and a lot of people shuddering. But the thing that really surprises me is people faint. I mean, I've never in my life known a movie where people would faint. I mean, it's hard to make people faint.
You really just affect them.
Well, as soon as they faint, I get out the smelling salts, and we have two kinds. We have a little bottle with smelling salts, and I uncap it, and I hold it under their nose, and they come to, or else we have the little pellets, and I break them, and then they come to. And most of them, once they fainted, they don't go back into the picture.
Yeah, I can't blame them. Oh no! Oh, she's definitely negatively affected. Oh no, poor thing.
The crowds were so intense at all the theaters that they became a police concern. Uniformed guards were hired in all instances to keep thoroughfares clear and prevent violation of the lines.
Form a more orderly line. You're blocking the sidewalk.
It's something I never saw in my whole entire life. This is something different And I went to a lot of movies, but I never seen nothing like this one myself.
Ticket, please. Move this way. Theater's upstairs. Ticket, please. Theater's upstairs.
The only experience I've had something like this is actually Jurassic Park.
Move back in here, please. Go ahead, please move in. You won't get your picture.
Right, we came yesterday for the 3:45 showing, and then we came back again for the night one, and we stood in line, but nothing. We didn't get in, so we wanted to come back again today.
She turned her head around.
Oh my God.
It's probably the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it's weird. She turned her head around.
So why don't you just step out so I can get
She turned her head around.
Is she alright? I don't think so.
It's not that bad.
God, I was so scared. The bed was shaking and like her back.
She's going up and down.
Then when her voice changed. My God, I've never seen anything like
Did
it.
you see the part where she turns her head around?
Not yet. I'm not gonna see it either.
It's gross. I tell you that.
Yeah.
Man, that is one of the most grossest movies in the world. It is. I ain't never took my coat and hit it over my face like that. Seriously, man.
It really was.
Seriously.
It was a good movie, but it was really bad.
I tell everybody go see it.
All the major networks covered the Exorcist phenomenon in hard news stories.
David Sheehan is with us tonight to talk about a movie that has people passing out in the lobby on their way in or on their way out, David.
Well, you've heard about all those reports about The Exorcist and the trouble it's causing, people fainting and so forth. I went to check it out. The manager of the National Theater in Westwood says that there indeed are at least a dozen people who faint or become ill during every showing. But The Exorcist is still drawing sellout houses for every performance, complete with lines around the block. I spent an evening in the lobby just to see if people really do come stumbling out in the middle of the picture, as reported. They did, so I asked them why.
It just scared me to death. Things just like this, really scared me to death. I'm just nervous.
Do you remember what particular scene it was that...
When she was in, what was it? When she was in a room, the doctors came in, and I guess it was when she was talking to Devil's voice. Oh, God, I can't believe it.
Are you going to go back in and see more of the movie now?
Probably, yeah.
What are you going to do right now?
I don't want to see it, but my curiosity is killing me. I have to see it.
I fainted like 10 minutes after the first beginning of the movie. And I walked out, and they gave me some water.
I passed out in about the first half hour, yeah.
Do you remember what it was, what scene it was that affected you so much?
Convulsions, when she took convulsions. Because I have a little girl, and it was like watching my little girl.
I think it's disgusting.
Why?
I don't know, it doesn't, it doesn't make me want to get sick like everybody says. My legs are just going, "Meh," and I want to go in the lobby and not watch it, and I have to cover my ears.
What was it that made that happen?
Just when she started talking like devil coming out of her.
How about you?
I can't even describe it. It's so horrible. I don't know why I waited 4 hours to see that.
The devil made her did it, I bet. The fact that people do wait 4 hours in line and then go back in to see more after they've fainted or gotten sick, I guess it shows how far some people will go for the thrill of being chilled to the bone. And judging from my long night in the lobby, the people most susceptible to being profoundly upset by the film are those who went in believing in the devil, Roman Catholics especially. As a matter of fact, the Pope himself is being quoted as part of the film's publicity campaign. Demonology, he said, is an important part of Catholic doctrine that really ought to be studied again. And on that level, some psychiatrists are calling The Exorcist a dangerous movie because it does give credibility to a variety of superstitions, including the devil myth and the power of ritual. So it may be true to some, The Exorcist might be dangerously convincing. To me, The Exorcist is nothing more than a fantastically well-made and very shocking chiller, or thriller, if you prefer.
KABC TV in Westwood.
KABC TV.
Do you think she'll go back in?
I don't know. I have a friend in there alone, and I don't want to leave her in there alone, so I probably will. But it's just, it's incredibly frightening.
As well as hard news coverage on local television stations. From San Francisco.
Triggered by the compelling story of The Exorcist. It focuses on an adolescent girl possessed by the devil, and the ghoulish horror which results has been captured in one of the most shocking films in years. And the crowds love it. They wait outside the North Point Theater through 2 or more performances to get in. One close estimate figures 100,000 people have seen The Exorcist since it opened 4 weeks ago.
Atlanta.
Excuse me, but the 7:50 feature is just sold out. If you want to wait for the 10 o'clock feature, tickets on sale at 8:30.
Has anyone said to you, don't go see The Exorcist?
Many.
Why?
Scary.
Well, I hope that the game goes well. Did you just bring cards, by the way, or is it something that you planned ahead of time? Or did you go out and buy them?
No, we planned ahead of time to bring them because we heard about the long lines.
Well, I hope when you get in finally to see The Exorcist that you do enjoy it and that you don't get too frightened and have to return to the card game. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why do you believe that The Exorcist is worth such a long wait?
Well, I've read the book, and I'm just more curious than anything else, I guess.
Well, have you heard any discouraging things about the film?
Yes, I have debated on whether or not to come, really, but my curiosity got the better of me.
St. Louis.
I wouldn't advise it for children. It's very mind impressive.
Yeah, true. Not for the kids.
It's good.
Yes.
It's very good.
Do you believe in it?
Well, I'm a Catholic. It makes me want to go to church. I thought it was excellent. I really did. I thought it was very good.
Did you believe it could happen?
Oh, yes. Anything's possible.
Possession by the devil?
Well, I'm not saying it has happened, but I'm not saying it hasn't either.
Detroit.
Yeah, the part where she started spitting all the green stuff and...
Are you going to go back in as soon as you compose yourself?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't have to look anymore, though.
You've walked out of the movie 3 times?
Yeah, 3.
On 3 different occasions?
Yeah.
You work here, so you've seen the movie several times. You're tried to, right?
I tried to, right.
And you still haven't seen it all the way through.
No.
What keeps hanging you up?
Movies.
Philadelphia.
How did you like The Exorcist? I didn't like it. Oh, why didn't you like it?
Afraid of it.
It was really scary. It was a really good movie, but it was really scary. I would want to see it a second time.
It was a very different picture, and it takes you way out. And I wouldn't want to see it again. A person the author had to be part of the devil himself to think of such ideas.
Oh, no, really?
My nerves are shot.
That's a
Pittsburgh
statement.
Press headlined The Exorcist, an experience in hysteria for some viewers, saying there were 1,300 standing in sub-freezing weather for hours at a time. The Boston Globe insisted that The Exorcist is not for the faint-hearted. About 5,000 people daily are getting a dose of psychic horror. The Los Angeles Times reports The Exorcist causing fainting and fleeing. Some trembled, others sought the privacy of restrooms. Majority stared into space. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch says suburbs showing The Exorcist aroused by traffic congestion. The San Francisco Chronicle headlines their story, Weird Goings-On. The Milwaukee Journal blared, fans line up to have stomachs turned. In Toronto, the Star gives a whole page to The Exorcist on one day with news photos of crowds lined up in freezing temperatures and a report that the picture is keeping the ambulances busy. And finally, cartoonist Conrad reinterpreted the basic advertising art for The Exorcist as a political suggestion. The New York Times said the United States is going to the devil. Later, the New York Times devoted a section front page headline to speculation on the cause of the Exorcist phenomenon and did a full inside page in that same section on the people waiting in line. On major radio networks and on local television throughout the country, psychiatrists and priests queried the makers of the film and each other on the meaning of its public impact.
I must confess that there were times when I had to force myself to look at the screen.
Why?
First of all, I knew what was coming because I'd read the book, and secondly, because it is a subject matter which obviously is Well, let's put it this way. It seems to me that it touches very deep areas of the human personality. And unless one is very insensitive, I can't imagine anyone either reading the book or seeing the movie without it having some reaction on them.
The Exorcist is with us now. The movie made from William Blatty's book. It may well prove to be more than just a volume or a show. It may well be remembered as one of the phenomena of the 70s. It seems that Chicago, like ancient Gaul, is today a city divided into three parts. Those who have not yet seen the movie, those who have seen it and want to talk about it, and those who have seen it and don't want to talk about it. I'm here in Hollywood today talking with the two men who are responsible for the remarkable success of The Exorcist, and they are author William Blatty and director of the film William Friedkin. Did you realize when you began all this that you're going to have such a phenomenon, or were you just trying to make a decent, honest living?
I was quite confident, just looking at the dailies, that it was going to be quite a phenomenon. Perhaps not to this extent, but I was convinced when I saw the very first rough cut on a moviola that Billy had put together that I quite frankly believed it was a film masterpiece, and I do.
Interesting now. See, he uses the same phrase that I do, Bill. He calls it a film masterpiece, and I admit this. I have some questions about its contribution to theology and religion, but as to say it's not one of the greatest entertainments we've ever seen, we can't deny that at all. But do you think that you're really making a contribution, say, to religion and to the understanding of theology?
Leaders of the religious community are naturally curious and often controversial on the subject of this film, which included among its technical advisors 3 Jesuits, 2 of whom also played parts in the film. The medical and psychiatric community has shown a similar interest in discussion of the film, its meaning, and the significant response of the public. There are 3 doctors of medicine credited as technical advisors in the main title. As this film report is finished, the news on the streets in front of the theater, on television, radio, and in the newspapers continues. The United States is astonished by the Exorcist experience. Soon, we expect the rest of the world will join them.
Nice. So I just finished watching this video, and it's very interesting to see the impact the movie had on the people at the time in 1973. I was just thinking, I would like to know your thought. How would you find it? Because it got me thinking. When I watched the movie, and I watched it, yes, very recently, and how it impacted me was nowhere close to how it impacted those people at the time. And you can see it really impacted them so negatively. It scared them so much, and they started throwing up, they fainted and everything, and it's genuine reactions. And for me, I found it very fascinating how it was portrayed. I found the movie to be exactly a masterpiece for sure. I did not see it as a horror movie. It was like a fantastic piece of art that I saw. So why do you think that at this time and age, how we perceive this kind of a movie, why is it so different to the way it was perceived back then by the people in 1970s? Is it because we are so desensitized by what we see in the new movies and in the world? But having said that, as you know, I'm not a person who have seen many movies in my life, and I'm actually starting to watch movies through this channel only, and I have not seen that many movies at all. But then I did not get affected, so I do not think that we are being desensitized by movies in that way. And at the time, the 1970s, there were really bad things happening in the world. People knew it. Or was it not reported that people didn't know actually this was going on, and then they were actually a lot more innocent and naive at the time? I would like to know your thoughts. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would really love to hear what you think. And I think many of the people who watch this movie at the current times may react to it somewhere close to how I did. So I would like to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me to watch this video. If you like the video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, I hope you consider doing so. And as always, you can find my full-length reactions along with the full movie and my full commentary over at Patreon. So the links to which you can find in the description box below and also in the pinned comment. I will be back very soon with another movie reaction, and until such time, I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.